to Cosplay Station. I'm Pannon.
And I'm Mercedes. Welcome, guys.
Hi. Hooray.
AKA VFire, I always forget that.
I know. I think, on our Facebook group, I comment there with my, actual personal page, and I think people are sometimes like, who is this? I'm like, it's me, it's Pannon, I just don't have my cosplay account linked.
It's Shannon.
Oh, no.
Shannon.
That sounds... Shannon. Shannon. So anyway, Mercedes, or VFire, had the opportunity to go to the Nihon Matsuri Japanese festival last weekend, and did some interviews that you guys will get to hear toward the end of the show, but we'll also be talking with the staff from the cosplay contest and one of our judges from last week. But before we get to that... You don't count. You're here every week. I'm not interviewing you.
Fake judge.
Fake judge. Fake news.
I'm
all
not
here.
fake.
I guess two, since VFire has to be a guest on her own podcast. But we'll get to the Nihon Matsuri in just a minute. Let's do some quick housekeeping before we get to that, because you've got a big announcement for this week, don't you, VFire?
Yes. We're doing our first ever giveaway.
Hooray!
And still giggling. So we received 20 tickets, weekend passes to Ogden Uncon, which is a first-year convention in Ogden, Utah. And so we are going to be giving out 5 of those passes every week until we run out, which will be, I guess, 4 weeks. So as of the airing of this episode, there should be a post on our Facebook page that says, hey, enter the contest for the first 5 tickets. And the rules for the first one is going to be, since it's our first giveaway and our first episode was on first cosplays, share your first cosplay. It can be a story, it can be a picture, share it in there and you'll be entered in, and it's essentially going to be a random pull out a hat kind of thing, and we'll pick 5 winners, and the winners will be announced next week on the next episode, as well as on the Facebook page, and round 1, you have to comment on that post by Wednesday. There we go. I was trying to remember that.
Nice.
I was trying to remember all the rules I set for myself. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah,
very cool.
So,
well, if you have a convention that you'd also like us to give out passes for, anything like that, or if you have horror stories or episode ideas, you can always contact us on our Gmail account, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can fill out the form at cosplaystitchandseam.com, and also check out extra content on the blog site, like pictures. It's usually just a lot of really silly pictures. And in some cases, a full drawing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then, of course, our Facebook group, which is, I think we hit 315 members this week.
Yeah.
Which is Cosplay Stitch and Seam on Facebook. There's a group and a page. The page is just what we used to post with. You're welcome to be a fan of that, but all of our fun stuff goes on the Facebook group. I've noticed a lot more people posting about, different projects they're excited about, asking for advice, introducing themselves, so thank you guys for making the group a fun, lively place. And everyone's comments have been really positive and supportive of one another. So thank you for keeping it a really awesome, fun place to be. Let's see, what else?
Ko-Fi. Coffee. Sorry.
Ko-Fi, coffee. If you guys would like to support us, the funds from our coffee account just go to help with our bandwidth and our hosting. And we did get a donation this week.
Yeah, shout out to... We both have different ways of pronouncing this name because I don't know how to actually say it. You want to go first?
Sure. It looks like Betty's Boy 87.
I want to say...
And Mercedes...
Beatus Boy 87.
Beatus.
The Beatus.
Well, however you say it, thank you so much for donating. Yeah, and if you would also like a shout out, of course, drop us a coffee. We will shout out your cosplay page, shout out your photography page. Yeah,
and I think didn't this contributor comment saying that they binge listen to everything?
Yeah, which is I'm amazed they didn't get sick of us, but that is awesome.
I'm sick of you, Pannon.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm in a good mood today.
But yeah, thank you so much. Your support helps us keep our podcast going. And remember, if we make it to our $100
$100, then I'll drink a coffee.
We're gonna do
$150 is the
Stupid Stories episode.
Stories,
yes. Saving all my best ones for that one.
Oh yes.
Yes. And we're quickly approaching our 50th episode. So again, if you guys want to send us some ridiculous questions and things for the 50th episode, we're just going to do like a 50 questions thing, I think. Like, you can ask anything, so this is your chance.
Yes, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
Send us your questions.
Yes. And I think that's about it. Are there any upcoming conventions, any upcoming events besides Uncon?
Got Uncon, Podcast Summit, Utah Podcast Summit, and then pretty open up until Anime Bonsai in October.
Anime Expo for me.
Oh, I was going to say
Yes.
AX is wedged in there.
Yes. I'm going to be sitting from home. Anybody going to AX, send me all the info.
We're going specifically to cheer for friends, Kimmy and I. So we're going to be there just to cheer for friends.
Aww.
So
We're the World Cosplay Summit cheer section.
we are the cheer section.
Woo!
We're going to have
Cute.
flags.
That's
It's going to
awesome.
be awesome. We're going to have
That
to remember
sounds
to
really
switch
fun.
out the flags.
So speaking of it, let's introduce our guests here.
Oh, hi.
I was gonna say, just in case you're wondering who's been chatting with us today, we have Kimmy and Soraya, also known as Unroyalty Cosplay and Turtle Bunnies Cosplay. Unroyalty was one of our judges this year at Nihon Matsuri, and Turtle Bunnies is the new cosplay, not new, I guess you've been doing it for several years, the cosplay director at Nihon Matsuri, and they're going to talk to us about the event, since both have been on staff for quite some time.
They both have been on the committee.
Yeah.
The board.
The
committee.
board.
It's interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kimmy's been on the board
So,
for
do
what,
you
over
guys-
10 years?
About, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, would you guys like to tell us a little bit about what Nihon Matsuri is and what you guys have been doing with the event?
Sure.
yeah.
One thing I will mention, though, if anyone calls me Soraya, I might not answer. So you can also call me Kame, and I will more than likely turn and actually respond. So
True,
yeah, I also go by Kame, and you've heard my voice before. But yeah, Kimmy has been involved in the festival since it started, so I'm gonna let her talk about it.
Well, I was actually pretty young when the festival started. I want to say I was like 14 when the festival started, but my mother was involved with it. The very first year the festival happened, it was... Okay, so rewind here. Utah used to have a pretty big, thriving Japantown. It was like 4 blocks squared.
Yeah, several blocks.
It was
Big city
It was
blocks.
very large, city blocks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in the... Oh, shoot. I don't remember the date off the top of my head. Well, that's embarrassing.
That's all right.
I want to say it's the 70s. They built the Salt Palace, which is on top of where Japantown used to be. So...
It's a very big convention center for any non-locals.
Yeah, non-locals, that's where they host, like,
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, FanX, and stuff. It's a really large convention center. So that took down most of Japantown to build.
Wow.
What we still have left of Japantown is the Japanese Church of Christ and the Salt Lake Buddhist Temple. And they're on one street on opposite ends of the street. And so that's all that's left of Japantown. And it's where a lot of our community kind of still gathers. We have... the Buddhist temple, they do Obon festivals, and the Japanese Church of Christ, they do the Akimatsuri. So it's kind of where our community still goes to gather and be Japanese with each other, essentially.
Mhm.
So when I was like 13, 14, they were trying to push to expand the Salt Palace. And in order to do that, they would have to demolish the last street of Japantown. So that would be the Japanese Church of Christ and the Buddhist temple. And... the community kind of fought back and was like, hey, we don't want this. And the city I'm paraphrasing here because obviously I was so young. I was young enough that I didn't know the goings-on. But the city essentially came back and said, well, you're not really a viable community.
Oof.
You don't have,
Like, people don't come here to do events with you. You're not part of the greater Salt Lake community, as a whole. You're not relevant to the community that's in the area, is basically what they were told. Like, you haven't proven that you're a part of the community that people would miss if it was gone.
So what the community decided to do that first year was to do a festival. To show that we were a viable community. So
that people were interested.
And people were interested in Japanese culture. So we are a festival that is primarily concerned with education. Our goal is to educate people on Japanese culture, on Japanese American culture, on the Japanese American experience. And we do that through a lot of different ways. We have some awesome exhibits. In the Buddhist temple, in their gym, it's always something new. Sometimes it's about old Japantown, or sometimes it's about like the railroads or farmers in Utah, like the first generation Japanese farmers in Utah and stuff. We also do demonstrations throughout the day, like I believe they do a mochi pounding demonstration.
Very popular.
There's ikebana. There's bonsai, there's
tea ceremony.
That one's
very
really
popular as well. Yeah.
And then we have taiko drums. We have 2 stages where we do performances. So throughout the day, there's taiko drummers, there's fashion shows, there's
martial arts demonstrations, dances, traditional dances. There's a choir.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of, and it's not just like the Japanese community. Like, I think this year we had lion dancers.
Yeah, we had Chinese lion dancers.
Oh, fun.
We've had Polynesian dancers before. We've had taekwondo demonstrations before.
So essentially, our goal is to educate about the Japanese American and the Japanese community and culture, but also to kind of reach out. Bumped the mic.
A lot of it is... Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
It's to foster a sense of community. It's not just to prove that there's a Japanese or a Japanese-American presence in Salt Lake. It's to show that Japanese-American presence is part of the greater presence. And Salt Lake specifically is so diverse. Like, 2 blocks away from where the Japanese Church of Christ is, there's that beautiful old Greek church where they have the Greek festival.
Yes.
And so it's stuff like that where we... Rather than just showing that the Japanese community is viable, we also want to show that the Japanese community is part of that greater fabric. Like, not to jump off topic, but the reason I kept bringing up the Polynesian dancers is I remember when I was hearing some of the performers speak, the reason we had those Polynesian dancers is because there was a ward, I believe it was a ward, or there was a religious group that was from a Polynesian church that didn't have anywhere to meet. And so the Japanese Church of Christ was letting them have their church meetings there. And so that's why they became so close to the festival and wanted to perform at the festival, because they were part of that greater community. They've been accepted into the community in Salt Lake. It doesn't necessarily have to be divided. So that's one of the things that I think is really important to remember is it's not just about learning about Japanese culture, it's about inviting other cultures into your everyday experience.
And that's really like the American experience, I would hope. But so
nice.
That's kind of what we are. We like to teach about our culture, show the different fun parts of our culture, and this is for both people who aren't Japanese to come and enjoy and learn, but it's also something that we want to use to teach younger Japanese Americans. So I'm 4th generation Japanese American, but now we are up to like 6th and 7th generation Japanese Americans. And a lot of us don't really have a connecting thread to the Japanese community if you're not going to one of the Japanese churches, or, if you and your family don't make that effort, it's sometimes easy to lose that culture. So that's another thing that we kind of gear towards is teaching Japanese Americans about their own culture.
And finding ways to reach out to them that will interest them in learning about their culture, rather than, like, some of them might have been forced to come to the festival when it started. Hopefully they'll leave, really excited about something that they didn't know about before. So it's about making sure that people get to be proud of their culture.
And so
that's awesome.
We do a lot of different ways to outreach that. We usually have a guest of honor, and they'll do lessons leading up to it and sometimes after it. Like, we've had dancers and other dancing workshops. But one of the ways we try to teach people about Japanese culture is through Japanese pop culture.
Dancing, because this is my part.
Well, that was actually, you guys led into my next question perfectly, which was, how does the Nihon Matsuri festival relate to cosplay?
Yeah, so the way that I specifically joined the Nihon Matsuri board and committee is when I was like 19, we had skipped a year of the festival due to budget reasons, and then they wanted to come back with the next year with a bang, but we didn't, from what I understood, didn't really have a huge budget for it. And they'd been wanting to do something anime. They thought people would like that, and the person in charge of that had just kind of dropped off the board and hadn't told anyone anything. So about 2 months before the festival, my mom was on the committee. She was organizing food booths. She asked me to come to one of the meetings, and they were like, "We need to have our guest of honor needs to be anime. How do we do that, Kimmy?" And there's 19-year-old Kimmy, like, looking at them like, I don't know, cosplay? So we started the cosplay the Cosplay Showcase to kind of teach people about that kind of culture. That it's kind of like, I view it, it's a gateway drug. Anime is the gateway drug into Japanese culture. That sounds terrible when you put it that way.
I would say anime is the way a lot of people are first introduced to Japanese culture. People who would not normally ever see anything about Japan or not really be interested in learning about Japan will watch an anime, and they'll like, I actually remember, this was my exact experience. I was watching the Sailor Moon R movie, and I could only get it subtitled, and I could not figure out why the subtitles said Mamoru, but he was saying Mamoru-kun. I was like, what is that? That's not matching. And that was the first moment that I was like, I need to learn something about the language that they're speaking, because this is driving me crazy, because it's not matching up. And so it's stuff like that where, like, I never would have looked at that if I hadn't accidentally gotten a subtitled version of that movie when I was young. But there we go. So yeah, not to jump in on there, that's a thing. That's a thing that is, I think, really important, especially because we're talking about how we're trying to reach out to, I'm just going to make eye contact with you, Mercedes, like I'm telling you this. But we basically want to make sure that people who are interested in Japanese pop culture can use that as a way to become interested in Japanese culture. And so when Kimmy says it's a gateway drug, it kind of is, because it can be addicting to learn all of this. Like, Japanese culture is so rich and so unique, specifically, my anthropology brain's coming out, specifically because of the periods of isolation that Japan has gone through. There are so many things about Japan that are so interesting that you don't really hear about unless you go digging. And it's exciting to start learning about it once you get there. And so kind of the tagline that we use for the cosplay contest, especially in explaining why we have it, is that pop culture is culture. You will learn about a culture by immersing yourself in their media. And it's a way that a lot of people who don't know anything about American culture know that Americans like peanut butter because it's in all our movies, or like know that we, for some reason, have a bowl of lettuce in the middle of our table all the time when we eat, like, dinner, like stuff like that. Like, they see things that we do. And it's all through media. And so it's the same. Like, a lot of things that people learn, they learn through pop culture, they learn through music, they learn through video games, they learn through TV shows. And so that's one thing that I do want to mention about the cosplay contest is it doesn't just have to be anime. It can be any Japanese media. We've had J-pop groups, we've had old movies. We had somebody cosplay like a doctor from like the first Godzilla movie.
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
It was really cool. Like, you can do stage plays, you can do anything, because it's all about Japanese pop culture.
Nice.
And honestly, it's unavoidable. Even if we were to just take out the pop culture and only do like the traditional dances and you know, the ikebana and all that stuff, which is beautiful and wonderful on its own. Someone's going to show up because they watched something or listened to something or saw something on YouTube that made them interested in Japanese culture. So we figured, why not reach out to those people already, people who are already just getting into it, and say, hey, all of that stuff that you like, all of that cosplay stuff fits in here. They all come from somewhere. Like, anime developed from Japanese culture. Let's teach you the things that inspired those series that you like. So that's kind of how it fits in. And it's actually cool. One thing a lot of people don't realize is cosplayers were showing up to the festival before we had cosplay as a guest.
Yeah.
They were there. And what is my favorite? Someone had a Google search result that they found that was, what are all those costumed young people up to at the Japanese festival?
That's amazing.
And so, like, people were like, what is this? Who are these people? But they were really excited because they were bringing new faces. You don't want to run a festival and only see the same people. You don't want to see only people from the church that is putting the festival on. You're not getting any new blood. You're not making any new money. So when they saw new faces, people they didn't recognize coming to the festival, that was great. And I think Kimmy actually mentioned for the first little bit, they sent people out with treats.
Oh, yeah. Initially, we used to have a booth like at the festival that was just about anime. So like sometimes we'd do anime viewings and sometimes we'd do like a cosplay display of different costumes or have some artists there. And for the first couple years after we did our very first Cosplay Showcase, it was arranged to have like little treats like candy or manju, which is like a Japanese sweet, just there that I could give to cosplayers to kind of encourage people to come cosplay because, you know, a lot of times the people that come in cosplay, they add kind of a vibrance to the festival. It's not traditional, but they're excited to be there and they're excited to learn about things and a lot of them do wear like traditional clothing and a lot of them, you know, are there to spend money, eat the food, like kind of embrace the culture. And so the committee head at the time really wanted to encourage that.
Well, and one thing I'll also mention is before I get distracted on the thing I was going to say before, anyone who is excited to be there is welcome.
Yes.
Because we want the festival to succeed because we want to prove the relevance of Japantown and Japanese culture. So anybody who's excited to be at Nihon Matsuri is welcome to be at Nihon Matsuri, no matter how they're dressed. But the other thing that's awesome about cosplayers from a sheer promotion point of view is this is a free festival. Attendance is free. So if you're driving down the street and you see a bunch of costumed young people headed towards the festival, you're like, what's going on over there? And so often people will be like, what's happening? And someone will be like, oh, it's Comic-Con, or oh, it's this convention and this is the price to get in. But with Nihon Matsuri, people can say, oh, it's Nihon Matsuri, it's free. It goes till 6. And a lot of times people will be like, cool, we're out here as a family, we're waiting for a movie, let's go check out the Japanese festival. Yeah. And so having things that are noticeable and welcoming and like Kimmy said, vibrant, that's good for us. We like that. And we want to encourage as many people to wander into our festival as possible. And
come not just my web, said the spider.
Like it's like we want you to buy food and merch and all of that because that definitely helps us, continue. But also it furthers our mission of like you wander in because you hear the taiko drums and then you stay for the Okinawan dancers who you might not even know what Okinawa is, but you'll leave the festival knowing. And so that's cool. And that's another reason we like cosplayers because they'll come for cosplay, but they'll stay for everything else. And almost all of them list something else as one of their favorite parts of the festival on top of cosplay that they wouldn't normally have seen if they didn't come.
In the interviews, people actually do list things other than the cosplay contest as things that they really enjoy about the festival. So.
I heard a lot of drums. A lot of people were like, "We love the drums. We love the drums and food."
If I can jump back to something Kimmy talked about a little bit earlier, which is the Cosplay Showcase, because that's what it was before it was the cosplay contest. Do you mind telling us a little bit about the history and how it evolved?
So initially, I had just barely started getting into cosplay. I think I'd gone to my first convention the year before when this happened. I had no idea what to do. But I was like, okay, I know we've got to be on stage. We have 45 minutes. We have to teach we would have to teach people about Japanese culture through this. What am I going to do? So I gathered a bunch of cosplayers, and I'm going to date myself here because I went on cosplay.com and DeviantArt
Yes.
to the local cosplay groups, and I just kind of reached out and said, hey, is anyone interested in being part of this showcase? So I got, I want to say 20 people-ish who were interested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. And it's how I met Pannon.
It is. I found the pictures from that year, just a little bit ago.
Yeah. So Pannon responded to me on DeviantArt. So,
wow.
Yep, I remember.
Oh boy.
Huh?
Which year did I come in to help? Was it the second one?
I think it was the second one. You did was Wander
You did
your
Wander,
first year?
right?
Link was my first year.
Link was your first year. That might have been the second year then. It's actually how I've met a lot of cosplayers.
Yeah.
So,
I found that picture the other day and I shared it on my Facebook story. That's why I was like, what year was that?
I want to see these pictures, guys. You should post them somewhere.
On my Facebook story. Come on, don't you follow? No, just kidding.
I don't understand how stories work. I'm old.
I don't understand how Facebook stories work
oh,
either.
you're so little.
Aw. 8 years ago, jeez.
Yeah. So,
oh, it switched. Sorry.
That's okay. I was like, that's not you anymore.
So I'm sorry. I digressed a little bit.
Showcase. Showcase evolved.
Okay.
Evolution
so
of
what
Showcase.
we would do is we'd do rehearsals with the cosplayers. So we'd pick anywhere from 15 to 20, I want to say. I don't remember now. It's been so long. And we'd get rehearsals put together, and we'd essentially choreograph a walk-on with the cosplayer. And some people came with ideas, like, this is what I want to do, and be like, great. And some people were like, I have no idea what to do. And so I think...
That was me the first time I went. I don't know what I'm doing.
I think it was you and Melissa, actually, who kind of just... Garnet Runestar. I'm sorry. who kind of walked people through how to do some kind of fun walk-ons. And the very first year, it was terrible because they were 3.5 minute long walk-ons. I feel terrible for you guys.
Lots of space to fill.
I remember those.
That was rough. But so while the cosplayers were on stage, I would be on stage with a microphone, and I'd say, for instance, this is Pannon cosplaying as C2 from the popular anime series Code Geass. And yay, cheers, people get excited, and then they're like, this anime is about...
You picked a fun one to try to summarize on the fly for a podcast.
Boy.
This one is about a teenager with a god complex. And, but no, and in that little summary, I would kind of talk about what it was about, but I'd also kind of talk about how it's received in Japan, or how, it was all engineered towards getting people interested in it so that they would then go and look into it. And from there, it's the gateway drug.
Educational. It was educational.
Right. Anime, my gateway drug.
So how did it go from the cosplay showcase to what made you decide to make it into a contest?
In all honesty, I did not have the time I used to. When I was a young 20-something, I had a lot more free time, and then kind of as the years got by, I had a lot more responsibilities, as you do as you grow up. And I couldn't organize the rehearsal times, and I couldn't organize that big group anymore. And it was just, I felt like I was doing the cosplay community and the festival a disservice by trying to do that when I didn't have the time and not doing it well.
I will also mention one factor I think that went into it was we always had people who were disappointed that they couldn't go on stage with the cosplayers.
This is true.
Who were in cosplay at the festival and had missed the recruitment, or didn't know that was something they could participate in. So there were a lot of people who wanted to be part of things that weren't able to because they wanted to be on stage.
And we did want to open that up to more people. So I actually think it was Kame who suggested it. Because,
it sure was.
Because I was like, I don't have time. I don't know what to do. I'm really stressing out. And she's like, well, why don't you just do a cosplay contest? People really like cosplay contests. And I was like, that sounds really hard too. And so
I put on my cape.
she put on her cape and was the hero I desperately needed.
Man, I was expecting her to roll her eyes at me, but she was like, no, we'll go with that.
But yeah, so Kame has actually, the first couple years, I would say she was definitely, like, she was my number 2, and she did, like, everything I needed to get done, and she would get stuff done for me that I didn't even know I needed to get done. And then, like, after that, I'll be honest, I was her number 2, and she was just running the cosplay contest. And I was just like, go forth and do. So, like, I do things like print certificates.
She did. It was so helpful that she did that.
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
So, yeah, that's how kind of we have evolved from a cosplay showcase to a cosplay contest. And I will say, our contest is still geared towards education, where, you know, people don't have to be on stage quite as long, thank goodness.
They can choose. They can be on stage for up to a minute. So we actually shrunk the time because we wanted to keep it educational. Sorry, I'm just going to yank this.
No, that's great, because my next question was going to be, how is it different from other cosplay contests? And this is a perfect segue.
We got this.
Then here we go. Yeah,
it's like you guys read my script.
So yeah, like, the thing that's most important about the in pointing out in the difference between this cosplay contest and others is that its goal is education and culture. Like, the reason that we are on that stage is for Japanese pop culture and representing that as part of Japanese culture. So everyone gets up to a minute. Every once in a while, a group will say, like, for example, we had a Love Live group that was 9 people, and they were like, can we have a little over a minute? There's a lot of us. And I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm very willing to work with people in that way, but everyone gets up to a minute. They can do less to do whatever it is that they want. They can plan a walk-on. I won't be talking over them. They can't have dialogue, but we literally do that so that we can just, you know, it's to protect us from any shenanigans, and also to make sure that whatever they do on stage is understandable to people who haven't seen the anime. Like, the whole goal is for someone to be able to bring their parents, like, who are just walking around at the festival, and sit down and watch it and still enjoy it and not feel like they're missing out on the jokes. So that's why we don't have any dialogue. But before everyone goes on, we explain who they are and the character that they're cosplaying and what it's from. And then we do a little blurb that explains what the series is about and ties it in a little bit to Japanese culture and why it's relevant, or why it's popular, or how long it's been popular. Like, for example, we had a character from Token Ranbu. And so I mentioned the character, but then I also mentioned the fact that since Token Ranbu has come out and become so popular, shrines and museums in Japan have seen this surge in donations and have been able to make improvements and you know, stay open thanks to this anime and the people who are in love with the Sword Boys now. Or like, I did a blurb about Castlevania. And in doing this blurb, I found out that Castlevania is Konami's all-time, like, best-selling franchise. Yeah. Didn't know that, but it is literally their number 1 franchise. And so it's stuff like that where we can point out and be like, here is Pokemon, and here is why it's so influential. Here is why it's been around for so long, or here's something about it that you may not have known. And so the whole point is to teach people. And so that's one of the main reasons that it's different is you will notice that the MCs will talk a lot more, and they will...
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say that requires quite a bit of an extra work on your part as well, to have to, like, look up and research each of these.
Why, thank you for bringing that up, Pannon. It actually is one of, like, it's one of those things that it actually takes so much work, but, like, I'm so attached to it that anytime anyone has been like, well, you don't have to, I'm like, of course I have to. Because every year I get a compliment from somebody who isn't involved in the contest that says, who writes those introductions? And I always get to say, I do. Thank you. Because it helps people, like, I remember once, I think Pannon, when we bumped into somebody at GameCon who said they got into Vocaloid because they'd seen us at the Japanese festival.
That's great.
And so it's stuff like that where I want people to be able to take that information and Google it and find the thing. So there's a lot of extra work involved, especially because our signups close 2 days before the festival. So I can't really start writing blurbs until then.
That's a lot of work.
I find that it's worth it because it really sets the tone for the show, and it really helps me feel like we're keeping it relevant to the event. So I guess I want to make sure that we stay cohesive with everything else. And so I think it does that. The other thing that I pride myself on a little bit, this contest is my baby. I love it so much, and it comes up once a year and it just consumes my life. As you well know. So one of the other things about this contest that's a little bit different from other contests is the goal of picking winners is to celebrate people and celebrate things. And so in addition to giving placement awards like Best Master's Craft, Best Master's Performance, etc., we will give out judges awards for specific recognition. And I always tell my judges, we have blank awards, and I'm like, if there's something that really stood out to you that you want to make sure gets recognized, we're going to recognize it. Because my goal is not to award, my goal is to celebrate. So the idea is to celebrate cosplayers and celebrate culture, and to just kind of further this feeling of community. And so what I want is at the end of every festival, especially at the end of every contest, because we announce the winners at the end of the festival. I love looking out at all of the cosplayers and seeing how happy they are for each other and for themselves, and just to have been part of that community. Everyone is so supportive of each other. And I want to make sure that that is what stays important, is that it's not a matter of, awarding for just accomplishment. It's awarding ingenuity. It's awarding creativity. It's awarding people who just kind of make you excited to cosplay or fulfill that spirit of cosplay. So I guess that's the other thing that I think is different about Nihon Matsuri is we give a lot of judges awards, and we're very excited and proud to do that.
Yeah, and I would say maybe another thing that kind of makes us a little different than other contests is we're a very small contest out of necessity. We have to do our shows. We have to get the contest completely wrapped in 35 minutes from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's a very tight scheduling. So we can only have about, I think this year we had 22 contestants.
We had 20
and 2
contestants.
of them dropped.
We had 20 this year. The most we've ever had is 25.
So that's 20 entries. And because it's such a small contest, we can really try and work with our contestants in a way that a larger contest might not have the luxury of doing. So we're very, I like to kind of tout this contest as being a very beginner-friendly contest because we're very open to discussion about what people need, and
we're there for you to have fun.
Yeah, and if someone doesn't understand, what to expect going into a contest, it's very...
It's a very low-key, it's a very casual environment. I try to be very approachable, and... like I said, my whole goal is for people to have fun. So if someone comes up to me and says, we've been practicing this dance, but the music is 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'll say, that's fine, because I just got a walk-on that's 30 seconds. So we'll work with you.
Okay.
Or if someone comes up to me last minute and says, we completely changed our performance, but blow by blow, here is what we're going to do. As long as that still meets guidelines, I'll be like, okay, finish in the music that you have and you're good. And a lot of times people are surprised by this because they've gone to other contests. But because the goal of this contest is to be part of the Japanese festival and to be part of the fun and the celebration, it's a lot more, we're a lot more fluid. We're a lot happier to, or rather we're able to be a lot more welcoming to change like that. With most cosplay contests, they are an event at a con. Yeah. They are the event. You're going to the cosplay contest at the con.
You're going to lose an entire day to that contest. Maybe a day and a half if your judging's on a different day. And then you've got the last day of the con where you're exhausted from the contest. So
it's a big deal. Whereas at Nihon Matsuri...
It's kind of a micro contest.
It's like a micro. Well, I don't want to say that because I like to think that we've started getting a lot of real quality, and we've got
I don't mean that by the quality of the cosplayers. I just mean more the time frame it takes of your day during the event is very small.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna go into. So it's more like the cosplay contest is an event that you do at the festival. It's not it's not going to take your whole day, and because of that you get to go enjoy the festival and have a lot of fun and just experience the culture. The festival starts at 10 and we usually have judging for several hours, like 2 or 3 hours up until the contest. So a lot of times people will come to their judging, go to the festival, come to the contest, go to the festival, and so it's very relaxed. It's very
nice.
Our whole goal is to keep it part of the festival and not its own separate thing. And that's why it's so different. And that's why we don't necessarily like blame any other contests for having to do things the way they do it, because it's a completely different beast. But that's why we like to welcome a lot of beginners or a lot of people that are shy or nervous. It's great because you're on stage for a minute and then you can just bolt into the crowd. and it's you know, and then you're safe. And so so I think those are the things that set it apart. It's shorter. We're actually looking into seeing if we can get some more time because demand has just been rising.
Up until this point, we've only ever had a beginners and a masters category just because we haven't had a huge group, but I think next year we're going to try and have an intermediate category because it's growing so much faster than we thought it would.
Yeah, it really is. And we also have a lot, like this year I lost a third of the people I knew were going to enter and still made it up to 20 entries.
Dang,
so I remember
level up.
I know. So I remember thinking, oh no, level up's going to kill the contest. And then we got a bunch of people entered and I was like,
it was
great.
So, like, from my point of view on that, like, that was really cool because, like, we got to see a lot of new faces. Like, there's a lot of people in there where I was like, I don't know any of these people, and, like, it was really fun to see just, like, this fresh group of people come through.
And so many of them just, like, wowed me. I was like, oh my gosh, where have you been?
Good.
Like, it was pretty cool.
So to switch gears a little bit, I was wondering, like, how can the cosplay community help you guys in return? What can we do to help support events like these?
Number one, come.
Yes.
Come to the festival. Come to the festival, and if you enter the cosplay contest, also go do festival things.
Yes.
But come to the festival, help us advertise the festival, and this is going to sound so cheesy, but come planning to support the festival. So even if you just bring like $10, come and like buy some food.
There's really good food.
There's really good food, and it's not expensive.
The taiyaki.
Yes.
I finally got to have some taiyaki. Yeah, so come bring
pancakes.
$5 or $10 and you know, spend at the booths. Do festival things. Help us get the word out. That's a big thing is when both the contest and the festival's coming up. A lot of people don't know about it. The thing that's nice about it is it's always the last Saturday in April. Yes. Always, always, always. The date never changes.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. It is the last Saturday of April. So that can really help. And then the other thing that's really important is it is important that cosplayers come. It is also important that cosplayers help us kind of realize our mission as a cosplay contest, which is to make anime and pop culture accessible and part of the whole experience of the festival. So we like to say,
we like to tell cosplayers, just please remember while you're at the festival, you're kind of an ambassador of the cosplay community. By and large, the cosplay community is no longer like awkward teenagers. Like, you know, I mean,
they have grown up.
But we've grown up a little, and
just a little.
I'm still awkward, but you know,
one of the things that we need to do as a community that's growing both in size and kind of in like median age is to show people that we're not the like kids that they think we are.
We're not going to knock over displays. We're not going to accidentally smack a kid in the face with our props.
We're not going to be yelling in the middle of another person's performance. We're not, you know. So just remember, you're an ambassador to of the cosplay community while you're at this festival, and
you want people to look at you and be like, "Well, what a happy little costume young person."
Yeah, instead of like, "Oh, those costumed young people."
Yeah,
like people are probably going to ask what you're doing or what you're wearing, or you know, and be ready to know what to say. Like,
Like, just
Be prepared for that.
Like, honestly, if someone, and they're all really polite, like, people just get excited and they're like, what's this? What are you wearing? And you can just be like, oh, I'm a cosplayer, and explain what cosplay is. Or even if you're not up to talking to a stranger, you can just say, I'm a cosplayer. There's a cosplay contest at this time if you want to learn more about it. Or you can go to the info booth if you want to learn more about what cosplay events we have. But I think the most important thing is, if you come to the festival in cosplay, whether you're in the festival proper or in the contest, just show people that cosplayers can be amazing, respectful, fun people, that we're approachable, that we're not someone to, we're not that weird. We're just as fun as any other part of the entertainment at the festival. And so we always say ambassadors of cosplay, because we want all of the people on stage to kind of encourage people to get into the media that they're representing. We want them to feel comfortable looking into cosplay or anime. And so the biggest thing that someone can do once they're there, once you've gotten your body there and you're supporting the festival, is just be respectful and be open to teaching people a little bit about your hobby. That would help us a lot.
Nice.
And help. What we really want to show is that people are interested in keeping cosplay there. And so if you are fun and people enjoy you, then you're just going to help us, prove our relevance. So that would be awesome. Right. Oh, also, sorry, one other thing. Another thing that can be done to support the community is to come to other events, not in cosplay. So there are a lot of other cultural events, like there's good.
That's what I was opening my mouth to say. And then you're like, one more thing. And I was just like,
you're just like, but I'm going there.
Yeah, I brought it
on
up
the right track.
earlier in the podcast, talking about Obon, which it's the Japanese festival for the dead. It's a Buddhist festival. It's a holiday, essentially. And that is something where cosplay is not acceptable to be in.
It's seen as disrespectful, but coming to Obon is not seen as disrespectful. It's open to the public. There's dances, and it's a really fun cultural event. And so if you want to support the communities that are part of the festival, definitely make plans to come to Obon. Make plans to come to, they had a ramen dinner. I don't know if you saw this, but you could buy a ticket and you'd get a bowl of ramen, and you could come to this dinner, and that supported, I think, the Buddhist temple.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff going on all year that you can do to support these Japanese communities in and out of cosplay.
Yes.
So I would just say, if you find that you really enjoy the culture, when you come to Nihon Matsuri, definitely stay involved and do what you can to support them. Just check and see if cosplay is welcome before you cosplay to those things. Like Akimatsuri, when we actually ran a cosplay contest for Akimatsuri. So one year when they did Akimatsuri, that was welcome. It was totally welcome. So it's a matter of check, don't assume. Either way.
Right.
Don't assume that it's not welcome. Right. Don't assume that it is welcome. Just check. And people will tell you, oh, we'd love to have you at Obon, but please don't cosplay. And it's easy as that. So just support the community all year. And definitely support the community at Nihon, and that's the best thing you can do to help us.
Yep.
So we had Mercedes, or VFire, went to the festival last week and did some interviews. But before we do that, is there anything you guys want to add about the festival that we didn't get to question you about?
Probably. I need to think.
It's fun.
Huh?
Oh, it's fun.
It is very fun. It's a fun festival. One thing that is really cool is the entertainment changes every year.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah.
So you can, it doesn't get old, doesn't get boring. You can keep up with what entertainment's going to be there.
Yeah, we always have a guest of honor. So last year it was really fun as a cosplayer, because it was a kimono designer. Who's done kimono design for movies, but also just kimono designing. She's done a line of evening gowns.
Really cool. It was really cool.
That are all using traditional kimono fabric. It was really good.
It was beautiful.
So last year we had that. I'm really bad because I don't remember what this year's was.
I don't either. I feel really bad because I was so.
I think it was the Dragon Dancers.
Yeah, and so
and then we've had taiko drummers or flautists.
Flautists, yeah. We had a really cool taiko troupe one year that flew out from like New York.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
Taikoza.
Taikoza, actually, was when you guys recorded
last year.
Yeah, last year.
Well, Taikoza came last year just because they had a lot of fun. But
so I guess what I'm saying is, entertainment changes every year. There's always new stuff to do. There's always new booths. There's always new, like, it's not going to get boring. It's not going to get repetitive. And the festival also will always take volunteers.
yes.
So nihonmatsuri.com is the website. If you want to learn about our mission, if you want to learn about ways that you can help, definitely go there. They always need volunteers. Even if you are only able to give an hour or two, like, they will take that hour or two.
There were like Boy Scout troops who would come to the festival with their troop, volunteer for an hour, like cleaning tables or like things like that, and then go back to enjoying the festival.
Yeah. So that's the big thing to remember, is this is a free festival. So anything that you can do to help volunteer, to help, donate, to help spread the word, is awesome. So yeah, that's just the main thing I wanted to mention, is come back every year. It's always going to be a different experience. And the more involved you get, the more fun you'll have. And you'll feel good, because you do really help a part of the community that needs this. You're going to help keep heritage alive. You're going to help keep history alive. These are two very historic buildings that we want to preserve, that we don't want them to go the way of the rest of Japantown. And so if we can keep interest in, if you can come and enjoy these buildings during the festival, that will help us. So
I will say, just kind of as a closing, the threat to Japantown, as we knew it at the time when we started the festival, has passed. The street is now called Japantown Street. Has actually renamed the street Japantown Street, and there's a kind of a, I'm not going to say like monument, but there's on the back of the Salt Palace has these gates called I believe they're called the Kimono Gates, and they're there kind of as a acknowledgement of what was there before.
Oh, I had no idea about that. That's really really cool.
So it's just those gates that are right there on the street.
Yeah.
So that isn't necessarily a concern. I mean, cities grow, things change. Who's to say what's going to happen 2 years from now, let alone like 15 years from now? But that concern as we knew it when we started the festival, what drove us to start the festival, is no longer the concern.
But that just means that we succeeded.
Yes.
And we want to keep that going.
Yes.
Continue succeeding.
Yeah, we want to continue succeeding. And the festival grows every year. The contest grows every year. Like, I took a picture that I'll totally send you if you guys want to have it. It's a panoramic of everybody at the end of the cosplay contest. And it was a huge crowd. And I was just super happy to see that we are drawing more and more people. Because, the concern about losing Japantown Street isn't there necessarily anymore. But we do want people to respect the importance of Japantown Street and the surrounding areas, and because it's in downtown, there's going to be developments, there's going to be things around it, and if there is this giant festival surrounded by these, surrounded on these two buildings that everybody loves, we're going to be protected. So we've succeeded. Let's keep doing better. It keeps growing every year.
Come to the festival. Bring your friends.
Come compete in the cosplay contest.
Cool.
I really, really want people to do that, because I don't get entries until like 3 days before the festival, and I cry. So, enter early. It'll be great.
It'll be great.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having
Mercedes,
us.
did you want to say anything to lead into your interview? Any words of wisdom?
Yes. So like I said before, I was helping judge the cosplay contest, so I didn't have like a huge gap of time to go out and do interviews. So all of them are fun little group interviews, where I'm talking to a bunch of people at once and asking them all the same question. And it actually was like, I went out there just expecting to like just do silly shenanigans, and it ended up being a little bit more, I don't know, spoilers, heartfelt than I thought, and it was really awesome. So
that's awesome.
Oh, I'm so
that
excited
makes
to
us
hear
so
that.
happy.
Oh, yeah. So there's not many interviews, but they're all group interviews, and so I talked to a lot of people in short spurts.
I always leave the festival so emotional, but in a good way. So I'm glad.
Yay!
It's makes me happy that other people have that experience too.
I think you'll like the recordings.
I'm so excited. I'm very excited.
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, here they come.
All right, this is Cosplay Station theme at Nihon Matsuri, and I have here with me...
Gallie. Brooke. Mina. Angela. Can you say Seijun?
That was Seijun if it was very quiet. All right. So we are here hanging out at the Japanese festival. This group, by the way, was amazing during the cosplay contest. They were just so, supportive of everybody who went on stage. It was beautiful. So, what's your favorite part about the Japanese festival?
Well, it's always the cosplay contest, obviously. I just really love seeing my friends go out there and perform. It's great. I just love all of them.
Your passion shows through during the contest, believe me. How about you?
Well, this is my first festival, actually, and honestly, I love everything about it, but I did eat the snow cream today, and it was my highlight, probably. Aww. And then the cosplay contest, too.
Yeah, that snow cream sounds great right now. It's kind of hot.
Yeah. I like just walking around with my friends and seeing all the cool booths and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I sadly missed the cosplay contest because I was late, but I usually enjoy the cosplay contest as well, for sure.
I enjoy the cosplay contest because I usually enter it with my Shiokaze sales group. I also like eating the good Japanese food for once that I can never get anywhere else.
You're out of costume. I didn't recognize you. You're good.
The petticoat.
You do have the petticoat. It's so cute. And your favorite part of the festival? Back in words.
Mostly supporting other cosplayers because most of them don't really have that support. So I'm there screaming my lungs up for them.
I love it. You guys are amazing. I love how supportive this group is. So do you guys have any cosplay happy or horror stories that you would like to share for the podcast?
I have one. Okay, so what's it called? The Asian Festival held at Expo. Yeah. So that's basically where all of this started because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that day.
Yeah.
Basically, it was my first time going out and cosplaying because I actually got the guts to do it. Yeah. And first coming in, I barely come in, and then just someone runs up to me and pulls me away and is like, "Oh, I need to talk to you, please." And I guess that's kind of what influenced me a lot because seeing how they were so supportive of me, it's maybe that's why it helps me be supportive of others too. And it's thanks to them that I know all of my friends now, and I have a lot to thank them for. Aww. Yeah. Aww. So that's my happiest con story I could ever tell.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I love you.
Hugs all around.
I have a story from today.
Okay.
Well, this isn't a cosplay thing, but I have these two plushies with me. They're called Prince Cats, and this really nice Japanese lady at a booth asked me what they were and what their names were, and I told her their names, and I told her that I really liked their seiyuu, and she got really excited and really happy and petted my little plushies, so that made me happy. And that's a good festival story.
Aw, that's so sweet. Great. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Again, you guys have been amazing to talk to, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the festival. I'll see you guys later. So, all right. Thank you. Back here at the Japanese festival, here is
pastel-colored cosplay.
You're so adorable. And
her brother. I don't have a cosplay handle, unfortunately.
He hasn't cosplayed with me for a long time.
Her brother, I like it. Yeah. So, what has been your favorite part about coming to the Japanese festival? I know you guys have come at least I know you've come multiple years.
We actually were the first people to actually start cosplaying here. Oh. And then people were like, wow, that's a really good idea. And then it brought in a crowd. And so then the next year they had the contest and stuff. And that was really cool. But Alec and I actually have been doing, we've been coming to the events like Obon and stuff since we were little kids, because our dad was Japanese, and so he would bring us to Obon when we were little.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, there's actually VHS tapes of me and Alec in little, what are those little outfits called? Jinbei or whatever, the little, and Alec has a bandana around his head, and we're doing all the Obon dances.
Aww.
Yeah.
Favorite memory of Obon or Nihon? Or?
Yeah.
I want to say it's probably going to be that, just because what my sister said, just because, like, although I don't really remember it, we have the VHS tapes and whatnot to go off of, but, like, it's just really nice to, like, look back and see just how long the, festivals have been going on for, and just, the day that they ever stop doing it, I'll be really sad, just because it feels like it, Salt Lake downtown especially just needs a little bit more of culture. That I feel like everything's just, I wouldn't use the term whitewashed, but it's really bland down here, and I think it's just the consumerism and everything that has a huge part to play in that. But I want to say that I would like to, keep seeing the festival go on and on.
Well, there used to be like a really big Japanese community back before we were born. But this whole street actually used to be a whole like community and thing. And now this is all that's left. So
yeah, it's slowly been taken up by other things over the years and whatnot. I've always loved coming to this. Like I haven't been obviously coming as long as you guys have, but like learning about the cosplay stuff here was what drew me to it, and then just like I've stayed for the culture and like the food for sure.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh.
See, like back when we first like started doing that, when it drew in the crowd, there was a lot of people that were interested in cosplay and they wanted to learn more about it. But at the same time,
scene was really
there was
small.
a lot of people that would make fun of people in costumes and everything. But like over the years to where it's at now, it's really changed where everybody is just super inclusive and super supportive, and like nobody really judges people for what they like to do anymore. So it's really nice to kind of see how much cosplay has like grown over the years, with the community and everything.
And how about like the festival, since you guys have kind of grown up with it, like how, like, I'm trying to figure out the question I'm trying to ask.
How has it grown?
Like, yeah, how has it grown?
Oh man,
over the years,
the size has been really big because like, what was that first year we came, we all did Final Fantasy like kimono. I'll have to find a picture and I'll send it to you. Okay. It's like really really old, but like I don't know. They had a couple stands and then they had the temple obviously open, but like I just remember people kept like looking at us, and I remember. Our friend Jenny did Lulu from Final Fantasy X, and she did her hair up like Lulu, and I guess like a newspaper photographer really liked her costume, so he took a picture of her hair and stuff, and it ended up in the newspaper or something.
That's so cool.
But yeah, and it was just like, people were just like, wow, that's really curious, and then coming here now, and then Kame gets out on stage, and she's like, welcome to the cosplay contest, and there's this deafening scream. It's just like, it's so much different than how it first started.
I got nothing to add. Just from what I've seen, how it's grown over the year is just, from the sponsorships to, I guess the crowd sizes and the attendees to the events that they have planned to even like the kiosks and the booths and the activities that they, have, whether it's for the kids or the adults. It's
I love
just
the kids booths that they've added in the recent years with all the yo-yo balloons and stuff. It's like a real Matsuri.
So adorable.
Yeah, that's how I've seen it grown over the years and everything, and I'm actually really happy that it's gotten as much traction as it has.
Yeah.
So
I certainly hope it still keeps going, because like I love seeing how like it always seems to be packed every year and just draws just an amazing crowd of so many different people, and like you said, like Salt Lake needs to keep that diversity, and I love it. So thank you guys.
You're very welcome.
Cosplay Station at Nihon Matsuri. I am now here with
Shining Sakura,
Suzanne,
Joseph,
Be Tyrant Cosplay.
Yeah, good group of people here. Very talented group. Adorable group too.
That's cute.
So we're here at the Japanese festival. You guys have been coming for quite a bit. Or your first time?
Second.
Or second time? Second time. Suzanne, what's
Probably like my fourth time.
fourth time? All right. How many times have you been, Rachel?
I don't know, probably 6 or so times
A
off and on.
bazillion times.
Yeah.
Almost every time Rachel's been here. I've been here probably 5 times.
Nice. So we got a lot of repeat offenders here. No, I'm just kidding. So what is your guys' favorite part about the Japanese festival?
Food.
I love seeing all the cultures and all the really neat exhibits they have, and they're always so unique. I really love the culture.
I really like the food, and I like to wear my yukata because I look so cute in it, and I love it.
You look super cute in it.
Aw, shucks.
I really enjoy smelling the food up and down the aisles. Lots of delicious food. And plus, I always come because Shining Sakura comes, and I'm her husband.
Honestly, I'm just a people person, so I like to come and talk to people that share similar interests.
This festival is really incredible. I love coming to it every year. I love supporting my friends at it. And yeah, do you guys have any cosplay stories that you want to share, whether they're happy or horror stories?
I sure do. I did a cosplay one year and it was pouring rain and all of my beautiful ruffle work got completely trashed and my wooden prop just expanded with all the water and went pop and it was a spear, and so yeah, that's in the cosplay workshop to get fixed.
Aww.
So like the first time I traveled out of the state for a convention, I came down with a strange illness. And so the entire convention I was sick.
No.
Yeah, and it was kind of awful because I was cosplaying a very high energy character. And so people have pictures of me laying on a brick wall because I was going to attend that convention, gosh darn it. And I was so sick. It was the worst.
Oh.
But I actually met some really cool people there, so it was worth it.
You drew a lot of attention laying on the wall.
I certainly did. Yeah. And some people would actually ask for pictures, like, I feel really bad, but can I, have you stand up? And I'm like, sure.
So, I'll say something fun and something kind of weird, both in the same outfit, same year at Anime Bonsai. I was dressing as a character named Richard from Tales of Graces. And at Anime Bonsai, there was his voice actor there, David Vincent, really cool guy. And he was just really happy to see me in my outfit, doing one of the main characters from this game that he voices. He came over and he actually asked for a photo with me. Like, wow, that's awesome, I'd love a photo. That same year, I was in the cosplay check-in room, and I was just standing in line waiting to check in, and some other cosplayer who was just standing next to me noticed me and just started feeling my hair and said, is this real? Is this a wig? I'm like, no, it's my real hair.
That's awkward.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
I've never cosplayed before, but I do want to start cosplaying. I really want to cosplay as Asuka and Yusoryu from Evangelion because I really love that show.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. You've been a wonderful audience to talk to. So
awesome.
Thanks. I am here with
Cade.
Cade's amazing. And
I'm Jay.
And Jay. Cade and Jay. Does anybody else want to get on this?
Sure.
All right. What is your name?
Jessie.
So we're here at the Japanese festival, and what has been your favorite part of Nihon Matsuri?
Probably my favorite part is the cosplay contest because, being a cosplayer, it's kind of what I'm into, so it's always fun to see all the costumes and just participate.
I think my favorite part is just seeing the mixture of both the Japanese culture and the cosplayers just kind of blended into one.
I love that too, actually.
I have actually seen this event grow quite a bit. I've been coming to this probably ever since it freaking started. So I've seen it grow and become larger and larger. And when I first started coming, it was really small. Hardly ever people came, and now it's so crowded. But it's great because the appreciation is there, and everybody is showing their love for one, the culture, two, the interest in everything, the food. The welcoming environment is probably my favorite, and then just also running into your friends that you don't see very often.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. So with you guys have come to... Kate, you've been to the Japanese festival a number of times, right?
Yeah.
What have been your favorite memories coming to the festival?
It's hard to say because it's always right around my birthday.
My birthday again, by the way.
Thank you. Because it's always around my birthday, so just coming and being able to see all my friends and have this giant festival, it's kind of cool. Oh, thank you. It's kind of cool to just have to be able to spend time with friends and immerse myself in the culture. So.
I think friendships have started and also been mended here. I've made new friends here on multiple occasions. Any fallouts I've had in the past before, I've been able to mend here. So
it's kind of around the beginning of spring, and so like it's renewing and it's like starting anew basically, and I feel like that this event embodies that a lot, and so I think those are the main memories I remember, is like the new friendships and everything.
I love that. Yeah, I'm along the same lines. I just like the blossoming friendships that appear here. It's so much fun. I've only been a couple of times, but the few times that I've been here and stuff, I've been able to make a lot of new friends, and it's been great.
You guys are so sweet. Like, I absolutely love all of that so much, and that's like what I love about Nihon Matsuri is, like you said, the renewing aspect of it. Like, that's amazing. That's so well worded. All right, so as you guys know, on the podcast, we do cosplay horror stories. You can also do cosplay happy stories. We've done a mix of those today, actually. So, any that you would like to share?
I met my now husband through cosplay. We got engaged in cosplay at Bonsai, and we were together for about 7.5 years now. Sorry, I missed a year. Cosplay has been the main driving force to that, so I owe a lot to cosplay and everything. So it's not a single happy memory, it's a conglomerate of a bunch, so there's that.
It's not really a horror story, but just like being new to like the cosplay contest scene, it's different. So when we were lining up for the contest, they basically told me I was going like second, so they could effectively band-aid rip me, and because I told them, like, I was like, hey, I'm nervous, like, because this is my second contest, and they're like, we'll put you second, and I was just like, oh no, that's terrifying. But like when I walked out, there were these two little cosplayers, like, from My Hero Academia, which is what I was cosplaying from, and they were just like cheering and screaming, so I was like, hey, I'm fixating on you guys, like, you guys are my stability while I'm up here, like, terrified out of my mind. So kind of a mix of like horror story, but also like good endings.
It's great. Mine's kind of a funny story. So Bonsai 2 years ago, I dressed up as a Team Skull Grunt, and there was a little kid that I was playing with. She, her parents often dress up as Jafar and Maleficent or Cruella de Vil, and their little girl. I've watched her grow up. She was super sweet, and we were playing tag in the courtyard, and then we made like a little house in the tall grass, and people were just like, "Oh my gosh, Skull Grunt in the tall grass, beware!" And every single time that they wanted to take a picture, I'd have to like get down and squat. So I did like 100 squats in one day. My legs were dying, but
exercise through cosplay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys. Those are really sweet memories and good stories. I like the horror story with a happy ending. Yes, thank you guys so much.
That did warm my heart. Aww. Well, before you guys go, we like to share some horror stories, and I was hoping we could get some. I mean, they don't have to be festival related, but if you want to share some that are, we'd love to hear them. Or they can just be good, fun, uplifting stories like the ones we heard.
Oh, we got a good one.
Yeah.
So,
hit us with us.
I can't remember what year it was.
Oh, I don't either. It was...
I remember what costumes we were wearing because they were ruined.
No, I believe it was 2014.
So...
I say because it was the year before Pannon and Melissa went to Summit.
Oh, yeah.
True. I believe.
So remember...
I don't know.
Remember how we said... now. That Nihon Matsuri is every Saturday, or every last Saturday of April, no matter what, rain or shine? That year, it was so much rain. It rained so hard. And the festival is an outdoor festival. So rain is not good. Hard. But it's extra not good when you have a cosplay contest.
Yeah, we I had tried to arrange, there's kind of a back portion of the stage. I tried to arrange it so that our cosplayers could wait back there, because normally we just have everyone line up behind the stage, and they go on in line and such, and then they can just get in their seats. But because it was raining, that's where all the taiko drums were, and the taiko drums are huge, expensive, and old.
So they get precedent.
So they got
Also bad to
priority.
be in the ring.
Yeah. So basically, we show up to do the contest. It's pouring, and not only is it pouring, but it's running way behind schedule. So I have all these poor cosplayers out there in these costumes they worked so hard on. We had some girls that were in panty and stocking that they were freezing. Like, we had people whose the dye was like, coming out of their fabric. It was terrible. And so we dragged that whole line. There's this little like awning by the Japanese Church of Christ, and we lined them up underneath it, did the best we could. And all I remember is thinking the whole time, I cannot hide under the awning. They are all suffering, and I have to show them. I don't know why my brain said this. I have to show them that I am willing to suffer for them and make sure that they are comfortable.
Yep.
So I was dressed as Sango from Inuyasha, and by the end of that contest, I was just soaked to the skin, like dripping wet. Like my wig, I looked like a drowned rat.
Man.
And I remember being like, I didn't abandon them. See, I lived with them.
Yeah. So I was dressed as a Dane from Final Fantasy IX that year, and I literally looked like a drowned rat because my tail was all like. Yeah. Oh, that was such a bad year.
You used paint on the tail, and the paint started coming off, and then I hadn't pre-washed my Sango fabric, and then it got wet. And you could see, and it was just so it was such a thing. And then the thing that was so crazy for me is we had like 2 people drop, 3 people drop. Everyone still showed up and suffered through that storm and got completely soaked. And still showed up to judging too, and I was like,
"Wow,
bless you, precious souls."
I want to say that year we announced awards in the judging room.
We did. We announced awards.
We told all the cosplayers they could come back to the room, and we announced, and so it was actually kind of heartwarming. It was heartwarming now that I think about it.
It was really cozy
because it was just like. All of the contest people, like everyone who had entered the contest and like their families, and they were all just kind of like sitting there, like on the floor, like, and we'd like announce, and everyone would cheer, and it was.
Well, and the other thing that was nice is people were like 3 feet away from the person, so I could be like, look at this costume, and so it was really great. And I just remember,
nice.
I remember it just being really surprising to me that people wanted to be in the contest bad enough that they
would put up with that.
So I guess this is a horror story and a heartwarming story.
Heartwarming.
Because it was one of those exact things where it's just like, man, getting soaked to the bone was awful, but I actually will always remember the award ceremony and just smiling around at everybody. I think I was in like pajamas because I had changed into whatever was available, and it was just a good. It was good.
It was good. It was a good year for the cosplay.
It was bad. It was a bad
year for the cosplay.
There's 2 things that I'll remember. I have to bring this up or I'll die. So I remember it being soaking wet and me being surprised that everyone was willing to go through that, and I remember the award ceremony. But also, my dear friend Rena Mira was in that contest as Olivier from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
And she was in character the whole time and had like the coat on.
Oh, she looked fantastic.
And she looked so fantastic, and she just
so like intimidating in that way.
And she just like whips the coat off and goes on stage in the rain. And I remember being like, "Whoa!" That was before I knew her, before she was my dear friend. And so I actually found this out because I was looking through the scripts from the years previous to steal my own words, so I didn't have to write them again for all the intros. And I kept finding all my cute friends that had entered this contest that I'm really close to now. So Rena was there, and then there were just a bunch of people that I was like. That was the other thing that was crazy cool. Here's another heartwarming. Here's some heartwarming, and Kame style, which is non-linear, and that's just how it is. But so I was going through these scripts, stealing my own words, and these names kept popping up that were like my friend's old cosplay names, or like the same names over and over again. And I realized that there are people who have been entering this contest since before it was a contest. And that made me feel really happy. Like, people who hadn't even been necessarily winning a certificate or an award kept coming back because they enjoyed being in the contest. And I was just like, nice. And then also I would be like, I've been friends with these people for a lot longer than I thought, and I didn't even know.
Like Mercedes
and
Pannon.
Pannon. Well, I was friends with Pannon before Nihon Matsuri, but that's because I've been friends with Pannon for literally forever.
Oldies.
So,
oldies.
Literally. Forever.
Forever.
Literally. But yeah, so that was really a fun, like, experience, is like the horror story of like staying up the night before the festival, typing the thing, and then being like, oh, that's my friend's name.
Aww.
Cool. So that was awesome. Like, it's good. Like, so I guess the nice thing is, even if something goes terribly wrong at the festival, there's a whole group of people there to help you back up.
I love it.
So.
Yay. Awesome.
Aww. Yeah.
Thank you guys once again.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to wrap up, if you guys have a horror story of your own that you want to share, you can send it to us on our email at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com,
or you can go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out the form there. You can, tell us your stories, happy or sad, hopefully not too sad, and happy or horror, as well as, you can always just say hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. If you guys want to support us, our coffee, KOFI, is Cosplay Stitch. You can go there. Just basically the cost of buying us a coffee helps to support our bandwidth and our hosting and all that fun stuff. Thank you again to Betty's Boy or Beatus Boy,
Beatus
87, for your lovely words and for your donation. One more time, Mercedes, do you want to give us a reminder of the Uncon giveaway?
Yes, don't forget, Ogden Uncon, I can say this, weekend passes, gonna give out the first 5 this next week. The post should be up already, just put on, read the rules, follow the rules, you'll get entered, and I'll do a drawing, and those will be announced, next Friday, as well as the round 2 will be starting next Friday as well, and there'll be 4 rounds total where I'll give out 5 tickets each. Woo!
Nice. And if you enter the cosplay contest, you'll see me and Mercedes and Kimmy. You
Yes.
should do that too.
Yay!
Yes, I will be entering the cosplay contest, as well.
Nice.
Will be these two shenanigans.
Competing separately for the first time ever.
You guys are?
Wow.
Your chili shirt construction is completing separately.
Whoa. Wow.
Come to Uncon to find out
See
what
the
the
show-
tea is.
See the showdown.
Wow. Ultimate showdown.
Ultimate test.
Music, as always, big thanks to
Macy Roberts, and editing by
David Jeffress. Do you want to tell us about some of our upcoming projects? You've been so quiet this episode.
I didn't go to Nihon Matsuri. I didn't have anything I could really add.
That's fair.
I see them sneaking that D&D in the corner.
I was gonna say,
Yes,
reading some D&D books.
I am prepping for some cool D&D stuff in the future, but for right now, that's kind of on hiatus until I get some more editing done. And for Comic Trades Monthly, we are doing 1602 this month by Neil Gaiman.
I love that one.
What if your favorite Marvel superheroes were in the year 1602 and had to deal with this brand new colony called America and the Queen Elizabeth
it's
is
good.
sick,
It's
and
good. Yeah, I have that one.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh, dang. I will have to tune in because I read that one and I really enjoyed it.
I'm excited to hear you talk about that.
Yeah.
Yay! So yeah, guys, make sure to check out Comic Trades Monthly and Dungeons and Chill.
Yes, do it.
I guess I will end on a pun note here. This one was hard because, punning in Japanese requires years of dedication and a strong sensei humor.
I was waiting. You did not disappoint.
Yay!
Or you disappointed just the right amount, depending on how people feel about puns.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye.